Hi everyone, welcome to Data Labs. I am your host and host Madhur. Today in this video we shall cover some basic SQL concepts. We will start with what is SQL, followed by types of queries in SQL, then table schema and data types in SQL. Later I will also guide you to install Microsoft SQL Server. Please watch the video Introduction to dbms and rdbms before this to know some important characteristics of relational database management system. The link to the video is there in the description below. Let's start. SQL, the structured query language, is the language used to interact with relational databases. It enables us to add, update, delete, and retrieve the data. SQL allows us to do many more operations for data management, data analysis, and data security. Almost all the RDBMS that we have today use some flavor of SQL to query and manage data, be it Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, Hive, or any other database system. Most of the queries are same across all the relational database systems. The SQL queries can be divided into five categories: DDL, data definition language; DML, data manipulation language; DQL, data query language; DCL, data control language; and TCL, transaction control language. Data definition language. DDL commands are used to define, modify, and manage the structure of database objects like databases, tables, views, stored procedures, etc. These commands do not manipulate the data but rather focus on manipulating the objects only. Some of the DDL commands are create, which is used to create the objects; alter, which is used to modify the objects; drop, which permanently deletes the object; and truncate, which is used to clean up the database tables. Data manipulation language. DML commands are used to manipulate the data stored in the database tables, including insertion, modification, and deletion of records. This can be done by using commands like insert, which is used to insert the data into the tables; update, which is used to modify the data present in the tables; and delete, which is used to permanently delete some or whole data from the table. Data control language. DCL commands are used to control the access and permission for the database objects by granting and revoking permissions for the users. DCL commands are grant, which is used to grant the access, and revoke, which is used to revoke the access. Transaction control language. TCL commands are used to manage transactions within a database and ensuring data integrity and consistency. These commands also ensure that all the features of SA transactions are followed. Some of the commands are commit, which is used to permanently save the changes made in a transaction; rollback, which is used to undo the changes in a transaction. The changes can be rolled back to the last commit or to the previous save point. Save point, which is used to set a point within a transaction to which you can later roll back. Transactions can be any operation which can be performed on the data within a table. The commands need to be either complete or nothing. Data query language, DQL. DQL commands are used to retrieve data from the database. The primary DQL command is select, which allows us to fetch specific columns and rows based on a condition. This is a widely used command to read the data and to do any kind of data analytics. We can apply multiple operations in a select command to get our desired results. We will understand each of these commands in the tutorials which will be coming next after this video. Now let's move on to table schema. Table schema refers to the structure of a database table. It shows names, data types, constraints, and other properties associated with each column. It provides some essential information about tables which can be used to optimize the data. This table shows the schema of the table employee. First column of this is showing the column names. Second one mentions the data type of each column. Nullable denotes if the column can hold null values, and the constraint column holds the information of the constraints applied on each column. Like the first column employee ID will have data type int and a primary key constraint. Primary keys can't be null, so nullable is also no. Now let's see the data types in SQL. As you saw in the table schema, each column had an associated data type. Data type tells us that what kind of information will each table hold. Will it be holding numbers, decimals, date, alphanumeric, boolean, or anything else? We have a variety of data types. We will cover some basic ones here which are common across different flavors of SQL. Firstly, let's go into numerical data types. We have tiny int which stores whole numbers ranging from 0 to 255. Next we have small int, and big int. All of these store whole numbers, but the range of the number that they can handle keeps increasing. Next we have decimal, which is used to store decimal numbers with a precision and scale. Precision denotes the total number of digits on left and right side of the decimal, and scale denotes the maximum digits allowed on the right side of a decimal. For example, 123.45 adheres to decimal 52, where 5 is the precision and 2 is the scale. It has total 5 digits and only 2 digits after the decimal. If no precision or scale is defined, default precision and scale are 18 and 0. Numeric. Numeric also store decimal numbers just like decimal. The only difference is that numeric have stricter implementation. The example above holds true for both decimal and numeric. But the difference is that if we have precision 5 and scale 2, it allows only 2 digits after decimal point and only 3 digits before decimal points, which is unlike the data type decimal, where we can have 5 digits be it on either side of the decimal. Let's understand that with an example. We have a decimal and numeric both with precision 5 and scale 2. The number 1234.5 will hold true for decimal, not for numeric, as there are 4 digits before the decimal. Now let's understand the character data types. First we have char size, which stores fixed size alphanumeric text. For example, char 3 can store IND and US. The size of the text should be less than or equal to the size given in the data type. But even if we store 2 characters as in case of US, it will allocate the space for 3 characters only. Next, varchar, which stores variable length numeric text. Just like in the case of char, the size of the text can be less than or equal to the size given in the data type. But the space allocated is also equal to the size of the text only. As in the case of US, only 2 character space will be allocated. And that's the only difference between varchar and char. Maximum size of char and varchar varies from one relational database to other. We also have some datetime data types to store datetime. First is the datetime only, which is used to store full datetime with year, month, date, hour, minute, second, and microseconds. Second, we have date, which is used to store only the date part. And lastly, time, which is used to store the time part. And last but not the least, we have Boolean types, wherein we can have the data type Boolean or bool, which can store the values true or false. As already mentioned, we have some other data types as well, but these are the few basic and the common ones. With this, I hope you should be clear with the basics of the SQL. We will cover rest of the stuff about SQL as we go through the tutorials. Now let's start SQL tutorials by installing Microsoft SQL Server. It is a relational database provided by Microsoft which is used across multiple organizations. Let's install it. We will be installing the Microsoft SQL Server 2022 from the official Microsoft website. It comes with a 180-day trial period which should be enough for our learning. Let's firstly download it. Now that it's downloaded, let's start installation. We'll choose basic installation, accept. You can choose the location where you want to install and install it. The installation is in progress. You can download other relational databases as well.
I will also share the installation tutorials for them as well. The SQL queries are mostly same, so that shouldn't be a problem to learn SQL. You can find the link to download the SQL Server in the description. Now it have downloaded the setup files and it have started the installation. The SQL Server installation have finished. Let us also install SQL Server Management Studio that makes it easy to write the queries. Along with SSMS, it also installs Azure Data Studio. On the click of this button, this download SSMS page opened. Let's download SSMS by clicking on this link. The download has completed, so now let us install it. We will install it by clicking on install. You can see SSMS and Azure Data Studio both are getting downloaded. The SSMS installation have completed. Now let's close this. Let's open the Management Studio. You can search over here for SSMS and you can open this application. As the SQL Server is installed on our local machine, so you can open SQL Server by putting the server name as localhost or dot as well. You can also open the Data Studio. The Data Studio is generally used to connect to the SQL servers which are present on the cloud. But yeah, we can also connect to our local SQL server as well. Click on these connections, new connection. Over here in the server, you can type localhost and click on connect. You can enable the trust server certificate, and with that, the local SQL server has opened. Next time, let's create a database and a table and start doing some operations on them. And that was the end of this session. I hope you found it useful. I will be coming up with SQL tutorials next. Please like and subscribe the channel. It keeps us motivated to create more such content for you. You can also comment in the comment box for any questions or suggestions. I will be happy to help. See you next time.